fact that we're being led to believe that well, I know what everybody wanted. Let's put it that way. I know everybody wanted to hear me say, you know, where to go get in the black limousines so they could be driven to the UFOs and put in their ascension machines and life would be perfect. Unfortunately, that is not reality. What is reality is that there is truth out there, and that the ends of those means are possible, but it's not that simple. There is free will involved and choice, and we do have to accept that we have a certain level of responsibility in this evolutionary process of ours and the ascension of our consciousness, and only then can we join our galactic brothers and sisters in a level of understanding that will make it so when we leave this planet, we don't run off and destroy everything in the galaxy just as we're destroying everything in the Earth.
Well, it's the spiritual side of things that I want to focus on today anyway. So
yeah.
This is your opportunity to do that.
Excellent.
I want to start, though, by recapping. That's what I didn't talk about. Okay. Well, I want to start by actually trying to recap what I understand Looking Glass is and the information that it gave you based on what I've heard you talk about so far, right? So Looking Glass is a technology that's been used at least since the 60s. Would that be right?
Since before I was born, I guarantee.
Okay. Now, you did suggest on Saturday that using this device to look into the future may not have actually been its primary purpose, but it's what it was being used for.
And I believe I know basically what its primary purpose was. One of the subjects that of spirituality that nobody wanted to get into. If somebody of a higher level of consciousness were to use this machine, I think that it would be much more in tune for, in one statement, to talk to God or divine consciousness or commune with God. Certainly, it's a little hard to understand for third density people. And if we were given this tool, it would be impossible for us to use it properly because you can't be self-deceptive and still be able to understand how important a tool this would be to people of a higher density. Now, realize that all I was given ultimately was data.
That's what I wanted to. That's what I wanted to just clarify. That you never used the device yourself. What you were given, I think it was the late 90s, was it not?
It was, 98. So
right.
Yeah.
So you were given the data that had been collected from all of the people over the years who had used the device to look into the future, and you were asked to research that and use your own intuitive abilities to either come up with an alternative conclusion to what the data was suggesting.
That was the only thing I was asked to do, is come up with if I could come up with any alternative theories. Because the data that I was giving all led to one point. There was no alternative theories.
In terms of how it worked, the image that I have is that, say you're in 1967 and you want to see into 1987, that what you're seeing is possibly an unlimited number of timelines into 1987.
Correct.
And that
you do see an unlimited one, but the more possible futures are more prominent. They come through more easily, I guess, is the easiest way to say it.
Does this just spit out data in the form of, numbers like a computer, or does it produce images?
It produces interlaced images.
So it is kind of like watching a movie, a holographic movie or something.
It would be like watching a movie that's imposed with every other movie ever created, and you have to use a computer basically to figure out which images go where, put them together, and then you've got every movie ever created, but the only one you want to watch is one.
So when you say, okay.
Very complicated stuff.
So when you say one timeline is stronger or comes through clearer, does that mean the images are just clearer for that?
They spend more time, they get more video time, I guess is the easiest way to explain it.
Okay. Did they then have the ability to insert information about hypothetical events and say, okay, if we put this person in as president, or if this particular natural disaster happens, and then see the consequences of that?
That is exactly what they do. I don't know if that's what they're supposed to do, but that's what they did, yes.
Okay. So here we are, say 1967, we're looking into the future, we see unlimited possibilities, but the closer we get to 2012, the number of possibilities narrows and narrows and narrows.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That is correct.
And then
you see less and less images that are interlaced together. That's very distinct.
Ah, I see. So then no matter which timeline you're on, you get to 2012 and there's a wall.
And there's a wall.
Regardless of the timeline.
Regardless of the timelines. And the timelines, as you get closer to this date, contract or converge into less and less timelines until the information that I got, we got down to 2. And it's very, very hard to understand how that would happen. And the only way that it can easily be explained is once you touch a hot stove and you burn yourself, you understand that you don't touch the hot stove anymore, and you just don't do it anymore. That's how free will and choice works. If you get burned, you won't go back there. Well, eventually we learn enough through our own free will decision-making in duality to know that the eventual conclusion of duality is to go back to that seminal Adam and Eve event where the knowledge of good and evil was chosen, and we just, figure out what would have happened if Eve would have put the apple down and said, no thanks, I'll just keep going with perfection as it is. It's a little tough to, summarize in a quick little interview, but that's the evolution of consciousness. The understanding that duality is an illusion that we've created to teach ourselves the experiences that we need to understand how to transcend duality.